Trend. I am your hostess, Tina Tilton. I know you see this shirt. Oh, say The Trend. And of course, you know I'm there every Monday through Thursday from 8 p.m. until 10 p.m. The blend and the trend, they do rhyme. But today, oh, you know what? I almost kind of gave my guess away. But okay, maybe not, because it is a few of us at the trend. So now you just got to guess which one is my guest on the blend today. So today's guest is a music producer, a very prominent music producer in our city, as well as actually in our world, if you will. Award-winning, Grammy-nominated, many accolades that we're going to discuss. You know what? I can't hold it any longer. I'm going to bring him in right now. Here he is. Bam, bam.
What's going on? What's going on?
There he is. Jason Clark, welcome to the blend, man. Man,
Thank you so
my
much for having
colleague,
me.
y'all.
Hey,
Mr. TRENDspiration right here.
thank you so much for having me, man. I'm so excited. I'm just getting off the air and everything, and so I was like, man, I was trying to find my shirt and all that, whatever. But hey, we
I
get
know.
ready
I
to
thought you
roll.
were gonna be a trendsetter with me today. I'm
I'm telling you,
trending.
I was planning to. I promise you, and I just couldn't find my shirt. I was like, what did I do with my shirt? So
That's all right.
I
I
couldn't
see
find
yours
it.
say love, and Jesus is love. So
There you go.
we're still in the same vein.
There you go. There you go.
Well, thank you for being a guest right here on the blend. You know, I very seldom get a chance to see you with working 8 to 10, and
Exactly.
you're in the middays. I'm
Right.
like, I don't really get a chance to see you except
Exactly.
on Facebook. I'm like,
Right.
oh
Right.
yeah, he's
Exactly.
on.
Right.
Like hearts, thumbs
Right.
up, all kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
But wow, Jason, you guys again. Jason is on from the midday
Hmm.
on the middays
Right.
on 104.1 FM, the trend.
That's right.
uh, I want to hold tight on that. I want
Okay.
to first talk about you being this award winning,
Mm-hmm.
Grammy nominated music producer,
Man,
turn
I,
DJ. Like,
I,
where they do that at?
I'm, I'm,
What?
I'm, I'm gonna tell you this. Talking about myself is like one of the most uncomfortable things in my life.
I understand. You know what?
You know.
Honestly, for me, it is too when I have to
Right.
talk about myself. But I love interviewing others. So,
Right. Well, one thing that I will say is that I have been blessed to work with many artists all throughout the country. And one thing that I say is that I'm in the service business. It's not all about the lights, camera, action, and stuff like that or whatever, but it's about the service of exactly what I do as a music producer or musician and things like that. And one thing that I say is that we create soundtracks for everyday lives. You see what I'm saying? And so anytime that I have the opportunity to produce anything, it doesn't have to be a big name. It could be a commercial. It could be someone that's local, a new artist or whatever. I always go into it with the mindset that I'm in there to serve because someone is going to hear this. They're going to be inspired. It's going to uplift them in some way or whatever. And so when it comes down to it, that's where my heart is being. And because of that, so many doors have opened up, and what
mm-hmm.
came along with that is those artists were so great and things like that. I got a chance to tag my name along with Grammy nominated and, award winning and things like that because of the hard work that the teams put together. So,
Uh-huh.
hmm
Uh-huh. I'm going to go back just a little bit on what you just said about, you do something about small. You say it could be small,
right.
like I do
Hmm.
commercials. Hold
Right.
on, just stop the presses. Wait a minute, because
Hmm.
the commercials that I've seen you've done in your bio, according to your bio, you've done commercials for the Hilton Hotel,
Yeah.
for McDonald's, for Mary Maids. These are not
Yeah.
small commercials.
Well,
So,
yeah. I mean,
yeah, come on now.
well,
So
well,
how did you get connected with that?
that's true, and it's all in relationships, And there was a really dear friend of mine. She was an older white lady, Melinda Grable. And first of all, I know we'll probably talk about the Tennessee Mass Choir at some point, but she was a supporter of Tennessee Mass. She loved my mom before my mom passed and everything like that. And unfortunately, Melinda passed away in a car accident a couple of years ago. But basically, she connected me with so many people, when it came to doing that side of the industry. Now, of course, I've always been in the music production / musician side, but when it came to like the big corporations, the big companies and things like that, she got me connected with that. And then from that, they talked to each other and it was like, okay, well, who did this for you, or who did that
Yeah.
commercial? And
Yeah.
it became like a chain reaction or whatever. And so I really owe it all, of course, to God, but God working through her
Sure.
to connect me to so many different people and so many different companies and things like that. And I'm telling you, it was really, really a blessing. It was challenging as well because, you know, one thing about me, I love recreating myself and reinventing myself. So I love having a new challenge. And but she afforded those opportunities for me. And I'm definitely so grateful for that, you know.
I am grateful for that too.
Yeah.
Professional career,
Mhm.
professional recording career at
Right.
16 years old.
Hmm.
Tell me about that. Like, walk me through that musical journey of life for you.
Well, number one, I come from a musical family. And so if I didn't do music, I would almost be the black sheep of the family. You know what I'm saying? I mean, seriously, I mean,
Okay.
because dating all the way back to before I was born, you know, I had an uncle that used to go around the country testing Hammond organs, you know, when they first created them or whatever. And so music has always been in my background. So actually, my for real start in my professional career was with my mom's group, the Fannie Clark Singers, back in the day. And I used to play tambourine, you know, for the so I was like 6 and 7 years old playing the tambourine, and they said I used to get a chair and fall asleep doing concerts and all that, whatever. So right.
Well, that is
So
what children do, though.
right,
So,
exactly. So that was actually the beginning of my career, but um I really I stuck with it because of the simple fact at an early age I knew I was going to be in music, you know, and not just because my family was in it, but I began to realize that I had a purpose in being in music or whatever. You see what I'm saying? And so, coming around to 16 years old, my first professional recording opportunity came with Kevin Davidson and the Voices of Binghamton.
all right.
Yeah, and so that was my first professional recording where I did the whole recording, what I played and all that or whatever. And also, back then it was the late Reverend James Moore that gave the choir the opportunity to record. So that's where the journey began. And again, from relationships, you know, James Moore was he took me and some of the musicians all around the country and things like that with him and got us connected with different artists or whatever. So again, it was just a chain reaction of things my whole career. And fortunately, me and a lot of the guys that I work with, we were able to keep great names in this industry to the point that people still continue to want to work with us, even now that I'm pushing 50 years old. You know what I mean? So that's a blessing. You know what I mean? That's
Yes,
a
I do
blessing.
know what you
Hmm.
mean. When
Hmm.
you say James Moore traveled, you guys, or a lot of
Right.
you guys, an opportunity to travel around the country and meet different artists. I
Hmm.
saw in your bio that obviously not only that have you produced and arranged music for choirs, but
Right.
obviously for secular gospel artists and
Right.
then secular artists. I saw
Right.
Dave Hollister's name on there, though he's
Hmm.
kind of crossover, but at the same time, you
Right.
know. So tell me, give me some names besides that one that I just mentioned. Give me
Well,
some
well,
names.
of course, you have Dave Hollister, you have Glenn Jones, Tony Terry, Howard Hewitt. I've had the opportunity to play for Yolanda Adams, played for Kirk
Yeah.
Franklin for a couple of gigs. Foreigner, St. Paul and the Broken Bones, produced vocals and things like that for them.
Yeah.
Martina McBride, Dave
Yeah.
Stewart from the Eurythmics. I don't know if you remember them from back
Yes,
in the
I
day.
do. Sweet
Yeah,
dreams are made
right,
for
right.
thee.
Yeah, right. And so, you know, I mean, like I said, it's just really been a blessing and everything. And I know, you know, sometimes a lot of people ask, well, you know, you do gospel and secular and R&B and all this and that. Well, yes, because my music career has nothing to do with my faith. You see
Oh,
what I'm saying?
oh,
And
that's good,
so
Jason.
you know, one thing that I say to a lot of people is like, if you have a nurse, if you have a doctor, you have a police officer and all this and that, are you going to tell them, are you not going to go to work or whatever because you serve God or whatever? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, my thing is I still serve God and I go to work as well in the music industry. Now, I will say one thing that I don't do, I don't produce or play or even be a part of any type of music that's degrading, any type of music that's associated with any type of evil or anything like that. I don't do that or whatever. You know, I
Yeah.
had a chance to worked with a huge rap group, and they were offering, you know,
Huge money.
several thousands of
Yeah,
dollars.
yeah.
And I was like, no, you know what I'm saying? You know, that wasn't my faith or whatever. You know, I didn't believe in what they were representing or whatever. And so, you know, I said no. But again, you know, my faith has nothing to do with my career, and at the same time, it has everything to do with it or whatever. You see what I'm saying? And so, you know, my thing is, my career in music is what it is, and that's why I've been able to maneuver between genres of music and be very successful at it. And plus, I've had great people surrounding me, just leading me along the way. You know.
Well, tell me about your faith, because I just heard you talk about that at 6 years old you were in the church playing the tambourine.
Right.
But when did you get baptized in the water?
Yeah, well, I got baptized twice, actually. All right. I got baptized the first time when I was 9 years old.
Okay.
Right. So when I was 9, it was like, you know, one of those things, you need to go and get baptized, go and walk up there or whatever. I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? All my friends sitting back there laughing and all that, you know.
You said they were laughing.
Right. And so it really wasn't my decision as far as being aware to exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And so I'll say by the time I was 15 and I really understood what it was all about, at that point I asked, could I get baptized? You see what I'm saying? Or whatever. And so, but like I said, the first time it was more so kind of, you know, all my mom and my aunties, everybody around, going down there. And honestly, that even served a purpose, because I was the last person that my granddad baptized before he passed or whatever. And so I even understood, even in retrospect or whatever, you know, looking back on it, that's what that purpose was. That was more so for him than it was for me. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so, yeah, I was the very last one that he baptized. But as far as my faith, it was when I became like 15 years old and I really understood exactly what it was all about. That's when, you know, I really accepted Christ for who he is. And that's when I gave my life to him, you know.
Do you ever, I can't think of a different word besides resent, but do you resent growing up in the church?
Well, let me see. I wouldn't say I resent it, because of the simple fact there are so many values that I still hold true to this day by growing up in the church. There are certain things that I wish I would have learned differently that I end up learning as an adult or whatever. You see what I'm saying? Because of the simple fact that I believe in, you know, female preachers and things like that. I grew up in a church that wasn't supportive of that. You see what I'm saying? But I believe in it, you know, because the word of God can flow through anybody or whatever. You see what I'm saying?
Or anything for that matter.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So I don't discriminate when it comes to that. When it comes to the clothing, I don't discriminate when it comes. I mean, a woman can wear pants if she wants to or whatever. That has nothing to do with faith.
With your salvation.
Right. And so, you know, I don't think the phrase is resenting growing up in the church. I resent some of the things that were taught that weren't correct. You see what I'm saying? Because I had to become an adult and completely relearn things. I'm like, well, this is not in the Bible. Why are y'all teaching this? You see what I'm saying? And so one thing that I discovered is a lot of people and a lot of preachers teach their personal convictions along with the word. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's where it gets mixed up right there or whatever, you know, because I mean, you know, like I said, that there were a whole lot of things that I had to undo that weren't in the Bible, and I actually thought they were there, and it wasn't. And I was like, man, you know, well, I felt better
for me,
about
I wasn't a church girl, and my husband's a church boy. And I wasn't a church girl, so I told him, I tell him all the time, I'm like, I don't have to. The blessing to that is I don't have to unlearn what was taught.
That's right.
I'm like, I know this. What I know is what I know today.
Right.
So, but when I was younger, honestly, I did resent not knowing God earlier in life. But I understand now. And again, I'm like, okay, well, for me, I ain't got to unlearn this stuff. This is a no-brainer. And some stuff, for real, Jason, some stuff I just don't take. Like if I sense that it's in my
Mm-hmm.
spirit not right or not moving right or whatever, I'm like, don't ask
Yeah.
me to clap.
I'm
Don't ask me to participate.
saying.
Don't ask me to touch your neighbor. Don't ask
Right.
me, because
Exactly.
this is not coming from a pure place.
I'm
And
telling
I
you,
said, I ain't got
and it's
time
a
to go
lot
to
of
church
that.
now. I started too late.
Right. Yeah,
Got
trust me,
time to go.
it's a lot of that goes on. So I
Yeah.
completely understand that, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and speaking of church now, when I first knew about you and or met you, we
Hmm.
were both members of World Overcomers
Right.
Outreach Ministries Church. You
That's
were
right.
the minister of music,
Hmm.
and I just remember being blown away
Hmm.
by the music there, because I had always heard I, again, for me, my mind had always computed church with the I call them slave songs. I'm
Right.
sorry,
Uh-huh.
but
Right.
I just the
Right.
old time
Exactly.
slave type songs. And
Right.
I just but when I got to that church, I had
Mhm.
never heard of a Tamala man and things
Right.
of that nature, like what y'all
Yeah.
were playing and singing. And really, Jason, I thought all those songs were coming from you.
Yeah. I wish.
I really, I
I
didn't know
promise you,
they
I
were
wish.
produced.
I,
Because I didn't know those artists. I just
right.
knew that y'all brought the music and you could feel it.
Right.
And it was just a different and new experience for me. And I knew I
Exactly.
had to have it.
Exactly.
So
And
I was in awe over your musicianship even then.
I appreciate that. And in a segue to that, shout out to Apostle Alton R. Williams, because I
Yeah, yeah.
mean, the great man of God, a great teacher of the
Yes.
Word of God. I promise you, I learned so much
Yeah, me
being a
too.
part of World Overcomers, and I really appreciated the type of support that he gave the music ministry. He allowed us to really grow and experiment and do a whole lot of different songs, everything from praise and worship to
Sure was.
contemporary to traditional.
Yeah.
And you really don't get that a lot in churches or whatever, because and some people just have a preference of, all right, this is our sound, so we don't want to go outside of this box.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't give us a box like that or whatever. He was like, as long as it glorifies God and everything, hey, y'all go ahead and go for it. And so that was really a blessing to be able to serve under him and have that freedom to be able to introduce contemporary, traditional praise and worship, all kinds of things. Even when it came to the youth, he even gravitated to the holy hip hop and things like that, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. He was
Mm-hmm.
always open.
Yeah.
And so that was a blessing to have that freedom to be able to do that, And so
Well,
I always applaud him for that. Yeah.
I learned something new about you just this year
Mm-hmm.
that I did not know. And I was totally like, huh? Jason got kids, y'all. Jason got children, and they're grown. I said, you have adult children?
Yes,
Tell me,
all adults.
tell me about your children.
Well, now here's the thing. I say I have 9 children, because I don't separate them at
Oh,
all
okay.
or whatever, But technically, I have 4 biological children or whatever. However, I
Yeah.
have 9 altogether that I claim and that calls me dad and
Dad.
everything.
Uh-huh.
And they're all grown from what ages of, I think my oldest will be, I want to say 29 this year, if I'm not mistaken, all the way down to 25. So right there,
Yeah, and your grandpa, and
right.
your grandpa, right?
Yeah, yes, I have 10 grandchildren.
You got how many?
10,
You have
10,
10 grandchildren?
10 grandchildren. I'm telling you.
That's
And
new.
yeah, well, and I'm gonna tell you like this. I'll say about 7 or 8 years ago, I had a dream that I was gonna have 12 grandchildren. Literally, I mean, this is no joke. Had a
Sure.
dream that I was gonna have 12 grandchildren. And so now, the end of last year, I had my 10th grandchild. All right.
Yeah.
So, yep.
We are 2 more
Yep.
to go.
Yeah, I know. And then, and
You
so
do know you're still able to have your own, don't you?
I
Oh,
know,
that's it.
but that's nowhere in God's plan for me. So, right. I am done. You know, I'm serious,
Okay.
but I'm
Okay.
telling you, and what makes it so funny is that out of all of my children that had kids, I still have 3 kids that don't have any children. So it could be
Oh
13 or
yeah. Okay.
14.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, right. Right. So I still have 3 that don't have any children. So,
Oh, wow. Hold on to your
I know that's
horses
right.
then. Okay. Okay. Well,
Yep.
now
Mhm.
We talked about Trend. We talked about the Trend. The Trend is an
Right.
all new gospel radio station. We
Right.
are so amazed and excited to be a part of this station. It's
Yes.
104.1 FM or
Absolutely.
1240 AM.
Mhm.
And the call letters are WAVN, and we are the Trend.
That's right.
From all this music producer,
Mhm.
arranger, Grammy nominated accolades that you have,
Mhm.
you can now add radio on air personality to
Yes.
that. How
Yes.
did that come about?
Well, first of all, shout out to Linda Covington because she was my inroad to radio. Um,
Okay.
and when we were over at when I was over at WLOK with her, um, I was actually brought there to do production. That was my original, I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
came in to they had like a different little test or whatever that you do after you fill out your resume and all that, whatever. And
Okay.
so anyway, with this IQ test that they gave me, they said I scored so high, they wanted me to be the business manager of the station instead of doing production. I was like, all right, well, cool. I mean, I don't have any problem with that. I mean, I'm great at math and all that, whatever. So
Okay.
hey, I could do it.
Okay.
And so I began doing the business manager. Well, a week after, Linda was like, well, would you mind being on air too? And I was like, "Yeah, sure, So I'm kind of like Mikey when it comes to opportunities. I mean, I'll go for it, So from that, I mean, that's how radio on air personality came into play. And so I give a major shout out. And I told Linda for the rest of my life, I'm going to always give her that credit for
Yeah.
opening the door for me to get into radio.
And now
What?
you're rocking the mic. 10
Well,
to, yeah, I'm
well,
sorry, 11 to 2
yeah.
on the Trend.
11-3. And the thing about it
11 to 3.
is, I was so nervous. I'll say my first 3 or 4 weeks doing it, I was like a nervous wreck or whatever. Linda came in, was just like, well, be yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it took my grandbaby to tell me that Pop, you don't sound like yourself on the radio. You sound like she said you sound like a white man. Right? So from that, I just took it and I
Children.
just put my personality into it, and the rest is history now,
Yes, and we love the history that has come about from it.
Yeah,
So, man,
yeah.
so glad to have you here. But in the midst of you being an on-air personality, in
Hmm.
the midst of this world experiencing a global pandemic,
Hmm.
we know now that you were actually one of our staff members, colleagues, teammates
Hmm.
that got hit hard with
Yes,
COVID-19.
very, very hard.
What tell me about that?
When I tell you, I'll say this. Physically, I literally thought I was going to die, and that's no joke. But mentally and spiritually, my mind and my heart wouldn't ever accept that fact. You see what I'm saying? I didn't accept in my mind that this is about to be it for me or whatever. But I will tell you, physically, there were days and nights where I couldn't even whisper without being out of breath or whatever. You see what I'm saying? And so that's why I tell people COVID is a serious, serious thing or whatever. I had no idea. Now, mind you, I've had double pneumonia before. As a matter of fact, when I was at World Overcomers, I was out for about a good 2 or 3 weeks with double pneumonia. This was almost twice as worse or whatever, because I mean, literally, you're laying in the bed, and I'm not sure if you've ever been into a city like Denver, Colorado, or something like that, where the altitude is very high, and you're just kind of sitting there. You don't have to be doing anything, and all of a sudden you gasp for air like that. That's how it is dealing with COVID, and you're just laying in the bed and you're kind of gasping for air certain times. Now, some people don't have the symptoms that bad, but
Yeah.
I think I got the worst of it or whatever. And so I just thank God for, being able to be here and testify and say, hey, I beat COVID through the power of God or whatever,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because he completely healed me from it. And I knew it was him, because it wasn't any type of medicine that got me out of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That's right. That's
yeah,
right. That's
yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So grateful. I mean, we were elated to see you at the Holy Hip Hop Showcase.
Sure, I was
That was
glad to
my
be there.
first time seeing you since
Yes, I
around
was
March
glad to be
almost.
there.
And then when you got back on air, my God,
Yeah,
you could feel the energy in
yeah.
there. I could see your face. Your face just was sparkling. It had
I
lit up.
promise
Like,
you,
I'm so happy to be
I
back.
was thankful. I wanted to cut a step while I was in there. and it was contemporary music playing.
It's all right.
Yeah.
What is next for Jason Clark? What's in the horizons?
Well, speaking of COVID, let's kind of backtrack just for a hair.
Okay.
And when this is way before, I've, contracted the virus and everything or whatever. But when everything was shut down, I'll say, really this time last year, it really opened up a whole new world for me. And one thing that I began to explore, and a lot of things that God placed in my heart, were things that had nothing to do with music or whatever. And so one of the first things that I created that he placed in my heart was Clarkstone Event Management. And we began to do expos and things like that for people who had were laid off from their jobs and everything like that. And God inspired them to start their own businesses. And so we began to do like pop-up shops and things like that on last year. So that was the first thing that happened, even though it was a year ago. It's still like the next thing that's on my plate because it's still in, a 1-year stage or whatever. You see what I'm saying? And so that's something that's new and upcoming. And, one thing that people don't know about me, because, before we got on air, you had asked about my shades and things like that.
Yes, I'm glad you said that. Yes.
A lot of people don't realize even the reason why I wear shades all the time. It started when I was younger. I'm talking about in my teenage years. I used to be afraid of looking people in the eye. That was the reason why I started. It wasn't because I thought I was cool or anything like that. It was an insecurity issue for me. And from that, I grew up, wearing shades on stage. I mean, it's like you rarely see me without shades or whatever. Well, now I don't deal with that insecurity, but God has turned that insecurity into a brand.
Into a swag.
Into a brand. And so now you're actually looking at a pair of Clarkstone sunglasses, which is my sunglass line that I'm going to be launching this year or whatever. So, yeah, so these you can't find these in the store or whatever. These are original. So
they look great too.
Yeah. So you asked what was next or whatever. That's next. My sunglass brand, as well as Clarkstone Event Management. That's what we're going to be building. So you all just pray for us.
Wow, thank you, God. That is amazing. I'm serious. This is not even no interview type stuff. Like God will turn that negative thing around.
That's right.
And make it for good and make you even profit from it.
I know that's right. He turned my insecurity into a brand,
Into a brand. That is so amazing.
Right.
Well, while you were out, I know one thing that you liked, and it's a brand. And I was just gonna ask you about your favorite food.
Oh yes. Yes. I think listen. I think I've gotten Carlos
open by accident.
I've gotten Carlos hooked on the popcorn now. I've gotten so many people hooked on the popcorn.
Yeah. I think those puffs are good. I said I gotta try them.
I know that's right. I think I'm the popcorn dealer of Memphis now.
It's supposed to be in your bag, Jason.
Man.
I sure appreciate you for putting us on these popcorns.
I promise you. And the thing about it is, you can't just eat just one. You can't just eat a handful. Like once you eat it, you just keep going.
Yeah, they practically melt in your mouth.
Right, exactly right. I'm telling you.
But anyway, I have enjoyed this opportunity. You guys, once again, Jason Clark, Mr. TRENDspiration of WAVN The Trend, 104.1 FM. Make sure that you check him out and check me out, but definitely check him out. If you've got some Memphis music, if you are a Memphis artist that does gospel music, you definitely need to hit us up. Go online, WAVNTheTrend at gmail.com and submit your music. And you just might get played during the Memphis Music Hour on Jason Clark's show. Right?
That's right.
Okay. So, Jason, thank you for being a guest.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I enjoyed myself.
And I'll see you at work soon.
There you go.
Bye-bye.
All right. See you later.